Hello everyone, welcome to another video. I'm Randy. I haven't posted a video for a little while because I have been on vacation. I went to the Black Hills of South Dakota, beautiful area. But I'm trying to catch up on everyone's videos since I've been back. But one thing I did see was a soul music tag, vinyl tag, and it started by Lavette Andrew, which I was not familiar with, but I will be subscribing to his channel because I'm a big fan of R&B and soul music. And he had a tag that has 15 questions, and I thought I would jump on in. And let's go. Okay, I'm going to put my glasses on to read these. The first prompt is to show the first soul album you ever bought. And I was trying to think on that, and I know I bought Two Steps from the Blues by Bobby Bland, which may be the first, but some people would consider it more of a blues album. So I'm going with the wonderful Jerry Butler, also called the Iceman, and his album Up on Love. This is it's a compilation put out by Charlie in 1980, compiling most of his VJ hits. A lot of them written by Curtis Mayfield, some with Curtis Mayfield and Jerry Butler. And he also does a couple of Randy Newman songs in here. And these are really my favorite era of Jerry Butler. But he also went on to do a lot of things with Gamble and Huff, kind of the Philadelphia sound. But this may be my favorite period, but this is Jerry Butler, Up on Love. Next is to show a Motown album, and I am picking wonderful Diana Ross and Supremes. This is an album from 1968 entitled Reflections, and it had, the big hit was Reflections. They also do a great version of, if I can find it, Love Makes Me Do Foolish Things, which became a hit for Martha and the Vandellas, but I think I like this version the best. And show the famous Motown label. And that's Diana Ross and the Supremes. The next prompt is to show a recent soul album you bought. And that would be this Betty Lavette album, Do Your Duty, which came out on Sundays in 2006. But these recordings were done in 1969, 1970. On the Silver Fox and SST International, SSS International, not SST, not the punk label, SSS International, and that was like 8 sides that she did for them, and then they added, I think, a couple more songs on here that were unreleased, but Betty Lavette, wonderful, soulful singer, really right in your face kind of singing, but wonderful album, Betty Lavette. Next, show a Soul 45 or 12-inch. So I'm going to use the 45, and this is an artist, Roscoe Robinson, and the song is Do It Right Now, which was a minor hit on the R&B charts. And on the other side, do you think I can, how much pressure do you think I can stand? But Roscoe Robinson came from the gospel, from different gospel groups, which he got a start in gospel music. In fact, he was with the 5 Blind Boys of Alabama for a time, even though he was not blind. But wonderful soul song, Do It Right Now on the Wand label by Roscoe Robinson. Next is show a live soul album, and that's going to be this Ovwright album, which came out in 1979 on the High record label. He does some of his most famous songs like Ace of Spades, I'd Rather Be Blind, Crippled, and Crazy, 8 Men and 4 Women. But wonderful soul singer, has a unique way that he sings. I discovered him through, I was reading an article by about Peter Wolf of the J. Giles Band, and he was listing some of his favorite soul songs. One of them was by Don Cove, and one of them was by Ovwright, and so I had to discover Ovwright, but I can't remember right now what the song that he recommended was, but wonderful singer, and Ovwright, also Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's favorite soul singer, if anybody cares. Which leads me to the next prompt. Who's your all-time favorite male soul singer? And that would be the wonderful James Carr. This is called At the Dark End of the Street. It also says he's the world's greatest soul singer, so I must be right. But I discovered James Carr, by hearing that song, At the Dark End of the Street. And then when I got this album, I discovered the song, the Bee Gees song, To Love Somebody. He does this better than anyone, and it is just a magnificent vocal performance on that. And his first two albums, they're hard to find, but they did release them on CD, and that's A Man Needs a Woman, and You've Got My Mind Messed Up. But these CD releases, they added about 10 extra songs on each side. And it's not just, another take of a song you already know, but it's a lot of unreleased ones. And these are really worth getting, these James Carr reissues. Okay, let's go to next. Who's your all-time favorite female soul singer? And that would be, a lot of people would be Aretha Franklin. For me, it's going to be Etta James. This is such a wonderful compilation album. You see right there. But of course, everybody knows At Last. It's probably her most famous song. But she's so much more than that. The Stop the Wedding is so wonderful. I Wish Someone Would Care. I'd Rather Go Blind. Great version of that. And something that's really amazing on here is her rendition of the Randy Newman song God's Song. Is just spectacular. But Etta James, my favorite female soul singer. Next is Show a Funk Record. So I'm showing the Queen of Funk, Betty Davis, who was married for a time to Miles Davis. But this is her album, They Say I'm Different, which the title track is just unbelievable. And she was a pioneer in the funk genre. But Betty Davis, this is a Light in the Attic reissue. The original album came out in 1974, and this issue came out in 2007. But wonderful Betty Davis, not the actress. The next one was to show a blaxploitation soundtrack, which I don't know if this qualifies, but it's going to have to, because that's what I'm showing, and that's the soundtrack to Car Wash. This was with George Carlin and Richard Pryor. I couldn't think of Richard Pryor's name. But wonderful soundtrack produced by Norman Whitfield. He did a lot of work with the Temptations. And this introduced us to the group Rose Royce, who does most of the songs on here. And the Pointer Sisters are on here for a little bit with helping them on one, and then there's some dialogue by Richard Pryor on here as well. But the wonderful Car Wash, the title track, plus I Want to Get Next to You, both those were nice singles from this album. So here we go to show your favorite soul album. That was really hard. I thought about this, The Shepherds, which they were really a wonderful bridge between doo-wop and the soul movement. And the two lead singers for The Shepherds, Murray Eskridge and Millard Edwards, who later on went on to the Esquires, are both unbelievable singers. And the song Island of Love, I don't think there's a prettier song than that, just a wonderful song. But this is came out in 1964 on Constellation. This is a reissue. They didn't really have a studio album per se, because it was just a collection of singles, one that came out in 1964, and then this reissue by Solid Smoke came out in, I'm not sure what year, 1980. But so if this compilation doesn't count, then I'm going to use this Night Beat with Sam Cooke. This is a wonderful showcase for Sam Cooke's voice. It's kind of unadorned in on some of the songs, and it really shines. This was a reissue in 2009 from Analog Productions, but the original album came out in 1963. But the wonderful Night Beat with Sam Cooke. Next, he wanted us to show in succession a classic soul album from the 60s, 70s, and 80s. Well, I'm going to go back and, because I wanted to show this one too, and this actually came out in the 50s, so I'm going to add the 50s to it. And this is Wade Fleming's, and the album came out in 1959. And Whoops Now and Easy Lovin' were probably two of his biggest hits, but I love Here I Stand. He's another one that had a pretty unique voice. This came out on VJ, the label had a lot of Jerry Butler songs. But Wade Fleming's from the 50s. From the 60s, another relatively unknown artist, and that's Phil Flowers, who was born in North Carolina, moved to Washington, D.C. area, and did a lot of dates there, and was discovered. And he did several albums on the Mount Vernon label out of Mount Vernon, New York, including this one called Rhythm and Blues. And this came out in 1963. And I love the song Satan's Little Angel, if anybody wants to look that one up, from Phil Flowers. So, next is going to the 70s. And I'm going with the wonderful album by Earth, Wind & Fire. This one came right after That's the Way of the World. Another wonderful album by them. Oh, it's got the old person that owned this before me on here. But this was really a showcase for Philip Bailey. I think he does some amazing work on there. You also have the song Getaway, which was a great funk song, but also has one of my favorite performances by Maurice White in Burnin' Bush. But wonderful Earth, Wind & Fire album from 1976. It was on Columbia. I guess I haven't been showing the labels so well. But anyway, you get the idea. So what's next here? Oh, one from the 80s. And another relatively unknown artist, and this is James Govan, I'm in Need, which is a wonderful song. Jealous Kind, Know What a Price are really great songs. But he released some songs in the 50s, I think in the 60s. But he was later discovered singing with, or playing with, what's his name? I can't think of it right offhand. Tony Joe White. I had to look it up. He was heard playing with Tony Joe White, and it was by David Johnson who produced this record, and so he was kind of rediscovered. And this album came out in 1987, and just a wonderful. I'm glad that David Johnson was listening to the Tony Joe White concert to hear him and produce this album called I'm in Need, which the song Help Me I'm in Need is just a wonderful Southern soul song. James Govan. Next is to show a soul duet album, so I'm going with Jerry Butler and Betty Everett. Betty Everett's most famous song is the Shoop Shoop song. It's in his Kiss. But this album came out in 1969 when the two got together. And it was called Delicious Together. This was a reissue by Charlie in 1981, and they called it Still Delicious Together. And I added another song called Smile on here. But Let It Be Me was actually a hit off this album. And wonderful duet album. Jerry Butler and Betty Everett. And last but not least, your favorite soul song. My favorite soul song is by Brook Benton. Some people kind of dismiss him, thinking he was maybe too pop. I don't know. But My favorite soul song, probably my favorite song of all time, is "Rainy Night in Georgia," the Tony Joe White song. And when Brook Benton sings it, it is just amazing. And when he says, "I feel like it's raining all over the world," really forlorn, and you really believe him that he thinks that. Love that song. Love Brook Benton's rendition. And that's it for my soul vinyl tag. Hope everyone's doing well, and it's good to be back.